Hey guys, today we're going to talk about 5 extremely effective techniques to relieve anxiety. I know I had a lot of anxiety in my life growing up as well as into my adulthood, and I've used some of the techniques we're going to discuss to alleviate a lot of that anxiety, and it's worked so well for me, I want to share it with you guys on YouTube. The first thing that I always try to do is anytime you're anxious about anything, it's because you're thinking about the future. You're worried about what's going to happen in the future, what is going to come of my life, and you're thinking about it too much. You're just going on and dwelling on it and dwelling on it. So the first thing I like to do is to look at the situation and go, look, what is the worst thing that could happen in this particular situation? What is the absolute worst thing? Am I going to be humiliated? Am I going to lose my job? What is it that could happen? What am I fearing? And you need to identify what it is you're fearing, look at it and say, I accept that. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but what you do is you say, this is the worst thing that could happen, and you know what? I accept that that could happen. Once you accept it and you're okay with it, then the anxiety which surrounds it will really start to deteriorate. Okay, the second thing I'd like to offer you guys is a lot of the times people who suffer panic attacks, I know for my case I suffered anxiety as well as panic attacks, is one of the things I was worried about. I was in a situation where I was public speaking. And I was worried about not being able to escape. And I couldn't get the hell out of there because, look, I was on stage and I couldn't escape. And really what I feared most was being humiliated in front of everybody and basically losing my mind. That was really, I can't really explain it, but if you're watching this video, I'm sure you can relate to me, where it's just you have this feeling that you're going to go insane. That, like, if I just keep this anxiety, I'm just going to, like, lose my shooter marble and just go crazy, and everybody's going to see it, and I'm going to be humiliated, and, you know, life will never be the same. But it's interesting because I've read a lot of books on this, and I've taken a lot of programs, and they've actually proven that you cannot go insane because of your anxiety. Your anxiety cannot take you to a place of, like, losing your mind. Now, for some of you who just have simple anxiety, this may be like, well, why are you talking about this? But it is really important, especially for those of you who have panic attacks, to realize that that anxiety is self-produced and it can't really, like, screw up what's going on up here. It just is going to be totally emotional. It's not going to have any effect upon your cognitive processes. And once I realized that, it made me a lot calmer and it relieved anxiety, which is the point. So please know that you cannot go insane because of your anxiety. Okay, so the third thing I want to talk about, and this is actually a technique that I use on a daily basis, is watching the energy. When I say that, what I mean is when the anxiety comes up, it's a very specific feeling. Obviously, it's very different from joy. It's very different from anger. It's a very specific feeling unto itself. And what you can do is when that anxiety comes up, you want to put your attention on it. For me, it happens right here in my solar plexus. I get this really deep kind of feeling of just anxiety, just this really heavy feeling. And what I do is I put my attention on it and I focus on it every time it comes up. Before it really has a chance to solidify, I put my attention on it. And anytime you put your attention on anything, it starts to dissipate and it starts to release. And what you're doing is you're taking your mind off of those anxious thoughts. You're putting your mind onto the manifestation of those anxious thoughts. And once you do that, once you put your mind on anything, it begins to dissolve. So really start to watch your anxiety, recognize it's there, and you know what? Be okay that it's there. It's fine. We're all anxious. We live in a very anxious society. It's fine. And once you accept it, you look at it, it starts to disappear. The fourth thing you want to do is to be in the present moment as much as possible. Why do we do this? Because anxious thought, again, comes from your thinking about the future. When you can bring your mind into the present moment and just tell yourself, look, it's going to be fine. The future is going to be fine. Actually, the more you're in the present moment, the more you focus on the now, the better your future is going to be, because you're creating a future, you're creating a situation now that creates that better future. So when you are in the present moment, take your mind out of the future, you bring it into the now. And how do we do this? Pay attention, open your eyes, look around, feel the wind on your skin, hear the people talking, hear the birds chirping, go outside, go for a walk. Just try to be in the present moment as much as possible. And all those anxious thoughts, again, that anxious ball of energy that's there, really begins to dissipate. And then when you do start thinking again, it's going to be there again. Again, watch it. Be in the present moment. And this is really a spiritual kind of practice that has done wonders for me. Just every day, I try not to think about all those things that we can worry about. And look, a lot of people have difficult lives, but we all need to stay in the present moment. When you can do that, anxiety will really begin to dissipate. The fifth thing I want to talk about, again, is a little bit spiritual. It's meditation. Meditation has been clinically proven to relieve anxiety more than anything else, even drugs, which, in my opinion, are prescribed way too often. When you meditate, again, you take yourself out of your mind and you get completely in the present moment. You follow your breath. And not only does that prevent your mind from thinking anxious thoughts, but it brings you into the present moment and it relaxes you. All that energy, because that's what anxiety is. It's energy that's trapped, and it's just like this vibrating energy. When you meditate, that gets released. If you can meditate every day for, I suggest, about 20 minutes, your anxiety will really begin to dissipate. So those are 5 techniques. I suggest you put them to use. They're extremely effective. If you're looking for something a little more thorough, something like a course that you could take, I strongly suggest a course called the Linden Method. It's extremely effective for helping you to basically get rid of all your anxiety. I've used it myself. I've suggested it to many, many friends as well as clients. I'm not personally selling it. It's something else that I've used. So I strongly suggest that you guys can just click on the link below. It'll take you right to the website, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, thanks for listening, and you know what? Good luck with everything.